So we'll get started with our Facebook Live work session. Call the meeting to order for January the 13th. This is our work session in preparation for our meeting of the 17th, which is next Tuesday at 5:30. The first thing I had on the work session agenda was an update from Joe Max. He was going to give us an update on the link projects for Starkville and Tomahawk County. He is not here. He and I have been in contact off and on for the last few months about this particular day, so I don't know. I haven't received anything that tells me that he's had a problem, so something may have fallen off his calendar. But we will go on with our second item on the agenda, which is an update on the parks from Mr. Doherty and Chris Williams on Cornerstone and on the various parks, and we have a handout in front of us. So, Chris, you and Brandon and David Quillis
and David
as well. So, however y'all want to start.
Okay, well, so just to give you an overview, the main thing that we wanted to talk about is Moncrief today, but while we had you, we want to give you an overview of how everything was going. So David was going to cover Cornerstone. I was going to give you a brief update of all the bond projects for the parks, of where we're at on those, and then try to dive into Moncrief to give you background of where we're at, what we need to do, to kind of get some direction for y'all to think about of what we want to do with the pool situation.
Actually, if you can get us two slides in, and we'll.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I'm going to be first, and I'm also going to be the bearer of some bad news. I rolled into town on Tuesday, spent pretty much all day Tuesday out at Cornerstone, and y'all had gotten some rain over the weekend, and even on Tuesday, it was sloppy. We've got the areas, I'm going to refer to the diagram here. So, talking in general, what we're trying to get to is pouring large concrete areas around the quads. This picture was taken right at the 1st of December. Quad B, which is the quad in the back, concrete's poured. We're ready to go there. Quad A, we've done half. The other half is formed and ready, but since December have not been able to pour any concrete. So what we run into out there is our soil conditions from the get-go have been really tough in this site location. When we get rain, we need multiple days to dry that area out so that we can run concrete trucks up into those areas and not get them either stuck or create more damage and do things to the site that make us have to make bigger repairs before the next concrete can roll in. Since that time, we've gone on pretty much a steady run of either rain, a couple of the good days of weather, rain again, freezing temperatures, rain. So where we're at right now, in your presentation packet, I've given you an idea of what time frame we need to complete, and it's 2 to 3 weeks per site with some connecting sidewalks and things along that line. Our issue is we're going to have to push back open date right now, and I don't want to put another date on it until we can get a better feel of what's going to happen with our weather. So that's bad news. The good news is that during this time, the other areas where we need to pour concrete, which is all of our curb and gutter for the parking lot, we're at about 95% complete. They've been able to do that work because our footings are smaller and we're working on a good limestone base. We anticipate being able, next week's projected to be pretty bad weather, but we still anticipate hopefully being able to finish curb and gutter by next Friday to put us in a position to start our asphalt overlay in the parking lot. A lot of our other items are, I'm going to call them nickel and dime items. The things you do as you get to finish up. For example, putting padding on the back of backstops, putting canopy covers on top of the canopies. Those types of items, the canopies are in place, backstops are set. We're working on those items, and they're doing those in between the rain days. As a matter of fact, went out there yesterday after it stopped raining, and our crews were out there working on the backstop pads. So our contractor has told us that he will work Saturdays. They're going to bring in pump trucks so that when we can pump concrete, we're not taking the big trucks down into those areas. But we still have to get dry enough conditions to be able to get the concrete so it doesn't float, shift, or we get a bad settle on our concrete. The other concrete items that they're doing, the smaller pours, pouring the marquee sign footings, they've gotten that done. We're working on the marquee sign now, the directional signage, all the other things that are concrete related that we can do that are smaller pours are moving forward. At the end of this month, we'll be back again We have C-Spire coming in to do our final connections on our fiber optic system for internet and fiber. And we also have our light test scheduled right now for January 23rd and 24th. So we'll be out there all day setting markers. We'll do our light test for all of the sports field lighting on the 23rd and 24th, and that may trickle over into the 25th a little bit. From a field standpoint, all the fields are ready, all the fields are playable, all the fields are draining, everything else is doing what it's supposed to do. So we're to the point where the one thing we can't control that we need control of is weather, and we need hot, not necessarily hot, but we need sunny days with some wind after these rain days. The overcast days just aren't helping us out at all. So that's kind of our status on Cornerstone at this time.
Well, let's let Brandon talk about managing the expectations of Cornerstone while we're on this subject matter. Because we had tournaments that were potentially scheduled for that first weekend in March, right?
Yes, so we've had tournaments scheduled through March through the rest of June every weekend. So we are currently reaching out to all the tournaments directors to let them know of our current situation. And we're going to try to provide them some options. One of the options is play at the Sportsplex, try to continue some of that stuff, and then incentivize them a little bit with, if you help us right now in the springtime, we're going to take care of you in the fall, and things like that. We're also reaching out to all the sponsors to let them know of the situation, because I do feel that some of the sponsors are going to be a bit more concerned that we're delayed. But we're going to try to be as open as we can, but we don't want to necessarily state that it's open on this time. All of our recreational leagues are going to have to take place at the Sportsplex in McKee. So that's going to be a transition, and as we work our way through the spring, depending on when it opens or how that looks, we're going to try to take advantage of Cornerstone once it's completed, because we want the first impression to be a good impression. And we don't want people playing in a construction zone. So that's our plan right now, and we're trying to do as much as we can right now, but a lot of it's going to be reaching out to folks and just communicating our situation.
We also found out last month, no, actually it's first of this month, that the statue, Cool Papa Bell statue, coming down from Montana, has got issues. The sculptor is fearful of the road conditions and that sort of thing coming out of the mountains and bringing it down that far at that time of year. So he had said that he didn't think he was comfortable bringing it down until about April. So we've been talking back and forth about soft opening versus a grand opening with ribbon cutting and the statue and all that sort of business. So unfortunately, that sort of does put us in that time frame. But the statue itself was also problematic, which was one of the things we wanted to share. But anyway, that's kind of where we are. So thank you, Brandon. I just want to make sure. Any questions of Brandon and David while we got them here as it relates to Cornerstone?
The only thing I want to reiterate, Mayor, and our contractor is very well aware of the crunch and is putting his efforts into doing what he can do to get us there as quickly as possible. The mitigating measure I mentioned about the pump truck, the other thing they're doing is they are bringing in a sand material that they've talked to with the engineers about being able to compact the soils a little bit better. That was not in the scope of their contract, and they're not charging any extra for that, and they're trying to do what they can do from their end. So it's not in their best interest, and I think I've told y'all that before when we were running into the delays and even getting concrete. It's not in anybody's best interest for this project to linger. So everybody's doing what they can do. Had a big meeting with him this week. They're going to be working, and again, I call them the nickel and dime. They're the little things that kind of get caught up, and our goal is to have all of that kind of work that can be completed, where all we're waiting to do is pop in these big concrete pads when we get best opportunity to do that. So.
Well, and we do have on the agenda for us this time to accept the landscape bid that came through. So things are still progressing. They just weather is the things we can't control. So I understand. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Now
Chris?
we'll transition over to the bond projects for the parks and kind of run through, like I said, real high level, because we want to try to keep y'all's attention for the Moncrief discussion. First, need more. We've got a 60% set of plans due the end of this month. If y'all been through the site, Chris Black was able to demo the building and has it down and has it grassed, and we have a few little erosion issues that we're tightening up as well right now. So that's down, looking at bidding early summer hopefully. The estimate is about 1.9. That's what we're sitting at right now for it. Got it. McKee, we have a 30% set of plans in on it right now. 60% is, like I said, mid-February for our next go-round on it. Looking at trying to bid the summer as far as that goes. And these are kind of some of the big ticket items of what we're looking at right now. We're going back and forth with the design team on several issues, trying to see what we're looking like budget and trying to get a better take on what we can do for it on that one. Grab it. So JL King, right now we have the football field lighting underway for the design for it. One of the things we're trying to do to save money there, we're going to reuse the concrete poles that are at McKee there. So we're going to have a project to pull those poles and reuse those at the football field, so that way we can try to save some money and stretch the dollar as far as we can. With that being said, that'll kind of depend on whenever we can get out of McKee and over to Cornerstone of when we can pull the trigger on starting the lighting project on that one. So Atwell Gent's working on that right now. And then same idea, just some of the big ticket items that we're looking there and what we're trying to do as far as JL King goes. The Patriots and Josie, we're doing those designs in-house since they're a little smaller, and also to try to save consulting fees and using our in-house resources on there. We have preliminaries on those, and we're kind of waiting till everything hits and have those roll in with the other ones as we can kind of fit them in and as the budget allows. All right, so next page was just an overview of where we're at. Like I said, these are only, the farthest we've got on anything is 30% set of drawings, so it's all still really early, preliminary, and try to figure out where we're at. And so along this comes with talking to y'all about Moncrief and figuring out what we want to do there and how much money we want to put in kind of our options. So we can.
This is the high number, right? Without us working it down at all.
This is just where everything's sitting right now. That's not carving on, trying to see where we're getting at and trying to get down to budgets. This is just as it sits right now. Is what it is.
Right, so, before we move off of that, I want to say, I want to mention to Brandon, I was over at Sutton Elementary School today, and they have got a brand new, huge playground over there. I don't know if you've been over there, but that's also quasi-community opportunity there after school hours. So that, I mean, it's a big playground. It's a really nice playground. So Brandon might want to go take a look at that.
Yep.
And we'll help them get that out and get that word out in the community. But that is a nice playground for the north side of town with our agreement with the school district. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine. So Moncrief. So originally, just back overview for you on that one. What was originally planned was redoing the pool house and putting the money into kind of the surrounding stuff of it. Whenever we started talking to Brandon about the pool, Brandon talked about the pool itself, is we have a water leak. We have issues with the pool itself. So we're trying to dig in on this water leak. It's not a straightforward fix. It's not just a pipe's busted or something along those lines. Whenever we ran the numbers, you're losing about 30,000 gallons a day. Is what you're losing. So he has to keep a pipe rolling all the time to keep it filled up as far as that goes.
Is that treated chlorinated water we're losing, or is that before it goes in?
Well, it's to keep it up.
It's pre?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not losing the chemical side of that.
Well, you will eventually, because I mean.
No, you will, but
yeah.
I'm just wondering.
It's the pre-water.
Okay.
Right.
Do y'all think the leak is before it gets in, it's in before we pump it, treat it, and put it in the pool?
Well, he's putting in water in. What I'm saying is, no matter if you lose it when you're coming in or out, you're still having to replace that every day. So you have those chemical costs and you have the water cost. So on both sides. So either wherever it's at on that portion of it. So what Stephen and I did was we went and looked at the piping. There's a few small leaks as far as the piping goes, but nothing near to get you to 30,000 gallons a day. How the pool's designed is it's a concrete shell, and then it's a fiberglass shell inside of that concrete. And so your piping for the water, when you're coming into it, what happens is the pipe comes into the concrete portion of it, and then it goes into the interstitial space, and it uses that area between your fiberglass and your concrete instead of a pipe. Because our first plan was to try to pressure test all your pipes and try to narrow down, okay, where's my leak at? Well, with that, you don't actually have a pipe for the water that's coming in. It's running between your fiberglass that you look when you see it and the concrete structural portion behind it, as far as that goes. So we're trying to look at different options. One, just kind of the bulletproof, all right, I want to make sure we don't leak at all, would be doing kind of a pool inside of a pool So pull the fiberglass off of it, ignite the inside, and do that. We got a quote for $400,000 to do that on that one. Another cheaper option is to go in and so all your cracks on your fiberglass, or you can see the cracks on it as far as that goes, is come in and try to re-fiberglass what you've got and come in with a pool paint and paint it. So the downside of that is if your concrete behind you has cracks, you probably still gonna have leaks as far as that goes. It aesthetically will be looking better, but like you're probably still gonna be having a water bill. So with that, $30,000 gallons a day at $4.15 per 1,000, you should be paying about $3,000 a month if you got all your metering correct and everything else. So over a 2 to 3 month time, you're looking at probably $10,000 worth of water a season on that one. So that's kind of one of the things to think about is, all right, I'm paying $10,000 in water, but how long do you pay that till you get $400,000, and kind of that idea as far as that goes. So looking at options, one's kind of the basic repair. So Brandon had went through looking at repairing your bathroom wall, repairing your roofs, and then the fiberglassing, looking probably about $20,000 to $30,000 to just re-fiberglass your joints and paint it. What that doesn't take care of is your water issue as far as your leak goes. So you're still going to have a pretty good water bill is what I would bet on. Maybe it pulls it down, maybe it doesn't. It's just hard to give you that with how the design of the pool is. Another one is, like I said, the $400,000 would be for just the pool shell itself. So you still got your older equipment, different things like that. And so probably $500,000 to sink in it to where you don't have a high water bill on that. And then the other one is like you wanted to get out of the pool business and figure out.
Go back to the $500,000.
Okay.
Does that include the repairing the bathroom wall and
Well,
installing roofs?
So that's like the $400,000 for the pool
Plus-
itself,
plus
and then the $100,000 for that. But that doesn't get you like new decks around it. That doesn't get you. So what I'm saying is, even that number doesn't get you like pristine, brand new. This is.
Is the $400,000 built a new pool?
It
The
is-
pool inside?
It's inside of it, but what I'm saying is that doesn't include like all your flat work, or if you're wanting to fix up other stuff. That pretty much.
Piping and
It does. So it would be your
Like
pipe
flat
flat
work,
work, but
or
what
if
it
you
doesn't
want
do
to
is
fix
up
up
other
like
stuff.
your
That would
big
be it would be your
stuff like
pipe and
flat
fluid,
work.
filters, your pumps. Which your pump I think is relatively new from what Jodan said.
Yeah.
The filter is relatively new, so it doesn't get you brand new everything. It just guarantees that you don't have a big water bill. Is what it does. So it's reusing what you can reuse on it.
And this would be a gunite pool inside the existing pool, so there won't be any of that space that water comes into between the five. There won't be any of that anymore. You pump it into a new
Right.
basin, basically, a new gunite pool.
Right, it's a new shell of the pool itself on that one.
And then you still add another $100,000 to the.
And that's just
building.
right, and that would be just doing the stuff that we were talked about, like the roof, the bathroom wall. That's not fixing up that building. To do a new building, what we're saying is $275 to $300 a square foot, and so that's what was originally planned, and that's why we wanted to stop and come back to y'all. Is like if we go put that much money in a new pool house, and your pool, is in rough shape.
Well, if you retrofit it, if you renovate, you kind of do the same thing. If you put a new pool, that's a renovation pool, and if you do things y'all talking about, the new roof over the whole thing, where we have roofs over our dressing
Well,
rooms.
it's just doing the roofs over the dressing rooms. It's what that $20,000
You don't
number
keep
is.
Existing roof in the middle.
And so kind of your basic is just bare bones doing with the stuff that y'all talked about.
So this is the money options piece of it.
Mhm.
Tell us about how much the pool is used and how the change in the school
Yeah.
year,
Yep.
going to a year-round school.
So
system
we averaged
impacts that.
34 people an average day last year.
34?
34 a day. And during that time, we had some church groups and we had some camps that were coming. We had a contracted swim group that came in the mornings. And the pool business itself, it's mostly, the open hours are obviously the hit or miss based on weather and participation. And then we do have a large quantity of swim lessons. So the swim lessons are what really kind of offsets the cost of the operation. And so at 34 people a day, our max capacity is around 80. And so 80 per, like at one time. And so there's a lot of, if you take those numbers, there's a lot of times where we're really not utilizing it to its full potential. And so as we continue to move forward, if the decision is that we're going to continue to have the pool and build it and kind of, we need to do some target marketing to try to drive some better participation there, because I don't think everybody in town really recognizes we have a pool. And I think a lot
Or
of
they
people,
have other options.
right.
Or the fact that we've done nothing to that pool. Basically, you've done aesthetics, but what you can do with a limited budget. We got a 70-year-old pool with a pool house that's got the ends that went on each side, knocked out by an automobile that didn't have roofs on before that. And so we've not out heretofore done anything of any significance to enhance people's wanting to come to that swimming pool. When I first got on board, we had to even have hours of the show. We closed at 5 o'clock in the summertime at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Closed swimming pool for 3 more hours of daylight. I guess what I'm saying is that if we do a little more marketing, we do some things to improve the swimming pool facility, and including roofs over the dressing rooms and things like that, that's pretty basic, we might get some more participation out of it. I mean, I think it's more particular, might get more people interested coming out there, but it hadn't been in good shape. You made it be as good as it can be, but it hadn't been in good, it's not in good shape.
Yep, and we've put a lot of time and effort into it, but if you look at the numbers of just last year, we basically, had $30,000 of expenses with $15,000 of revenue. Now, I think that goes into some of the decision points of how much are you willing to invest in something that's not fully being maximized. And there's probably a period of time where, yes, let's do something and really put some focus on it to see if there's a stronger need than what we anticipate. But at the end of the day, depending on which option we take, it doesn't necessarily resolve an issue. It just kind of prolongs it, and then we have a chance to reassess it. So,
Would option 1A maybe be to invest the minimum limp-along plan? Do we want to continue to be in the pool business, and is this the place where we would want to be in the pool business, or is there a better location for ease of access, parking, all that sort of thing? There's some physical limitations at Moncrief that we aren't going to overcome.
And these numbers, don't include fixing up the parking, don't include all those type things on that. These were kind of bare minimums, and that's what originally the scope was, to fix those type issues is what the original master plan was, and it didn't have a line item for the pool. And so that's why we're trying to come back and see, like, if we do want to try to minimally fix it up, and knowing that we're probably still going to have a water leak on the end of the day, and we're going to have a little bit of a water bill for 2 to 3 months, and then kind of reassess and figure out. So on that side,
this is a good time if we could do a capital improvements to the other parks. If we decided we wanted to put on system, relocate that pool, the sportsplex, to the McKee sportsplex area or something, build a new outdoor pool or something, wouldn't this be time to plan that? I mean, to try to, because we're about to issue a bunch of bonds for a bunch of stuff in the city limit. You financial person, but we just throw good money bad if we just keep.
Well, and that's my concern about Moncrief and that pool at Moncrief, is that we do throw good money after bad. But I think that the thing to do if we want to move in that direction of planning for a pool is to earmark a space for it, figure out where it's going to be, and make sure that we include that as we are doing improvements at Cornerstone or J.L. King or McKee or the Sportsplex, wherever it needs to be. Yeah. So that would be the first thing, and I think there's a lot more analysis that we would need to do instead of just going, let's build a pool at filling.
But I think it's time. The day for a new swimming pool, its time has come. And where we decide to locate that kind of thing, we can come up with but this thing's late 40s, early 50s swimming pool. And it's probably, it's got some structural problems. You also, now you're talking replacement, basically, put the swimming pool within the swimming pool. So it's got some inherent structural problems. Probably is is at or past its useful life, kind of like your water lines and things. So, but I would want us to move and be committed to trying to find a place and afford to put in a new, we don't have to build an aquatic center, but a new outdoor pool that, it's,
It lives like people do today, yeah.
and kids want to practice swimming. And here's another thing about swimming. The reason Mississippi State doesn't have a NCAA swimming program is because swimming programs lose money. They lose money. And universities that have swimming programs, they ask Alabama and all, they don't make money. They just decide it's in the interest of that school, University of Wisconsin, in the interest of those schools. And the athletic departments, football and the basketball and the baseball floats the non-revenue producing sports at those colleges and universities. They have swim programs and all that kind of stuff. So if we do swimming here, we're never going to have enough people to make money. So I bet we call people, they don't make, and that aquatic center, they don't make that thing to make money. It's just something they're committed to as part of a comprehensive recreation program for the city of Keysville. They feel like the swimming it rounds it out as part of that, one of the pieces of that. So I think we should move in the direction of these swimming pools. Put Band-Aids on this and keep it going as long as we can, but move expeditiously toward planning and figuring out how we're going to afford, how we're going to pay for and build us a new swimming pool, wherever we choose and whatever part we decide to do it in, and move forward and before the end of the term of this board, have that going.
Any other thoughts? We obviously need to set it up so that this summer can be a usable pool. So, but I do think that it's time for us to decide if we want to be in the pool business or not. I know that there's the country club, which is some people in the community. There's the Sanderson Center, which serves some people in the community, but beyond that, there isn't pool access to anybody. So do we want to be in the pool business? Because we used to have two. One of them wasn't being used, so they did away with that and turned it into a splash pad. So
We also had a big
You
leak.
had a big leak.
yeah, well, I mean, that's where we are as well. But the same thing, it also wasn't being used. So, if we want to be in the pool business, I think that's a decision that we can make. You make as a board, or we can do what we did when we did the master plan for the parks, put out a survey of some kind and see if the community itself wants to have a pool. But this summer, we need to have a pool because.
And it's, so it's option one, I think is
Yeah.
what I'm hearing, is we're limp along.
Let along put the roofs over the direct.
Make it as
Check structure,
attractive
nothing
as
else,
as we can make it and market it
Yes.
heavily. Let's see if we can build an interest in people coming into it. And
Would we be able?
I grew up with a pool in the community, so I believe we should have one. But there are a lot of things that are passé these days, and that might very well be one of them. But we need to at least explore it.
So we'll come back and with the notes and all the timelines and stuff to let you know what that looks like, and we'll start moving right away.
Okay. Well, you're also going to need to be ready to hire a lifeguard.
Yes.
because I know that's been a struggle.
That will be
So,
going out today.
and
then.
let's keep it open for as long as we can, although you didn't touch on the school,
Yeah.
changing the school schedule.
So a lot of
how
the-
will you address that?
Well, they ended up, we tested it last year, and basically when they went back to school, it just plummeted. I mean, there was nobody, and
Did
so.
anybody come after school?
Not
Between
very
3
many,
and-
not very many people. I think we had, in that 2-week period, I think there were 7. And most of them were mom and child. So I think what we would do is a little differently is probably modify our schedule throughout the week, put more emphasis on the weekends, try to control our hours and our costs. But we also need to probably program it a bit more. Again, that direct marketing to say, hey, let's go to the pool, let's do this, let's make sure this is an option for you. And we'll see what happens. I mean, I think that at that point we can come back and reassess it based on the data and say, hey, this is working or this isn't working. And then that way you guys can make a better decision of where you want to go and how you want to do that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
A new facelift attracts people, so remember, once we do a new facelift to it, it attracts people.
Parks in general? Sure, go ahead.
Could you look at, on the key park where the tennis and pickleball is, could you at least consider moving the pickleball courts over one space because of the age of the pickleball players. I know that that is a help for them right now, going all the way to that.
Well-
Say it. Just don't, I'm not even gonna look at you. So I went down there because I'm a tennis junkie, and they were taking over our court, and I went down to tell them cease and desist, and now I play pickleball 3 times. And it is growing. People are coming from Columbus, blah, blah, blah. It's a long sled from the parking lot now to where the courts are, and I think that's where they're going to stay.
Well, and we were actually, so that'll transition us well to the Travis Outlaw Center, because what we were actually looking at doing is not doing these new courts here and taking that money and putting new outdoor courts at the Travis Outlaw Center and have them covered.
Yeah, that's an amazingly great idea.
And so, because kind of what we were thinking is, look, with everybody already playing there, then they'd have more room, and then they'd be able. So let me.
Great idea.
That's more operations side. So let Brandon jump in on the Travis Outlaw Center to kind of talk about what we were actually going to change about doing those.
So the Travis Outlaw Center is starting to reach its max capacity a lot of our times. So from December through basically the end of March, anytime from 7 to 9 o'clock, Monday through Friday, we have something going on. So there is very, very little opportunity for general usage. This year we've had some challenges with our basketball teams because we've had to increase the number of participants per team. We had to turn a few kids away, and our games per year are decreasing because we don't have the court space to support the program. So unless we run the program into baseball and softball, and that's going to be a month worth of extra stuff, we're going to be leaving a lot of kids behind. And so we're trying to maximize our Tuesdays, our Thursdays, our Wednesdays, our Fridays. We have people practicing Saturdays and Sundays. We're doing everything we possibly can. And so the need that we have is a couple of courts. So we need a couple courts. In the current gym, the floor is a wood floor that's also buckling. So that thing is wavy, and it's getting worse as the weeks go on. So I think we're at the point where, like, what do we do so that we can have some additional court space, that we can provide better opportunities to the community, and then also still looking at, like, the sports tourism piece a little bit. We've been collecting data of usage and usage hours, and I think the big piece here is that you can see from 3 to 8, we're not really getting that many people because we have so many things happening in the gym. These are 9 walkers on average per day. So we're only getting 9 people to come in from 3 to 8 to walk. Now, we've been scanning folks. Not everybody is scanning right now, but I would say about 70% of them are. But just as so raw data, that's where we look like. That's what we currently look like. Now, the idea is one, we talked about a curtain that helps create a divider, but we also are talking about repositioning the courts so we could add volleyball courts in there, because that's one of the things that's up and growing. We have a club team utilizing the gym on Wednesdays and Fridays. They've already hosted a tournament, but they can only have 8 teams. And to get any bigger than that, we need those additional courts. We then talked about adding 3 courts to the back of the gym that would be covered, and these would be multi-purpose usage. This is where we can do tennis, we can do pickleball, we can do basketball, we can do volleyball. We can change what's needed out there, and we connect it to the gym, so essentially we get 5 courts. So as it's part of the complex, we then have a better ability to manage it, making sure that we don't have problems with people abusing the property or using it after hours and all those types of things, so we can have better command and control of it. We can offer more programs. Just for an example right now, we could have people practicing so people during regular games would still have the ability to practice on their non-game days so that kids can get better. And we wouldn't have had to turn some people away. So our idea is like we're currently looking into is how do we get that built onto the back end of the facility.
So we put a price tag on that yet?
We have not got on a price tag. We met with the engineer today again, and we're getting very close to getting something. Chris has been working pretty hard on that.
And we're trying to figure out, but I mean, you're several million, they're probably 2.5 at least to get 2 courts on it. And so the 3, we'll just have to see. And that kind of falls back in with all our other numbers. And trying to see like our total budget and figuring out what we can do.
Given the number of people that are playing right now, I think 8 courts, I've never seen us use more than 5 to 6, I think 8 is fine. However, they're so cheap, we really just talking about paper mailman.
Absolutely, and we would tick line a lot of those outdoor spots, and then we would tape them up. Inside, we've got 6 courts currently for pickleball that we open a couple days a week and set up for them. And if we can do this other half, I mean, we would have ample space at that point to help support during any type of weather. And then we would probably look to kind of expand our hours over the weekend too, to provide more opportunities to use that facility.
And so, back to the idea of moving the ones that we're talking about, putting just tennis courts or pickleball over there, that would be freeing up that money to come over here and then have more flexibility whenever you're not playing pickleball to use it for other things.
Brother, why did we change the time from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock? Because a lot of people, you would be walking early in the morning, like when it get cold, I comes in more. But it's open at 7, and a lot of people in work, and they usually have a lot of people walk from 5 to 6, 7. How about it change it to 7?
We changed it to 7 to help with the financial piece of it, to be honest with you. So as the numbers came through and we were trying to calculate how much for labor and opening hours and things like that, it came down to kind of numbers and cents. And so most of the people were in around that 7 o'clock time period. So we just moved it to 7.
Did you have a tally of the number of folks that were there? I
So
thought
we
you
were
and I
tick
talked
sheet.
about this, and you said
Yes, we
6
were
o'clock
tick
was
sheeting
not-
it at one point, just kind of keeping track of it. But that was all during COVID, and then there was that discussion of, hey, how many people are actually coming and not. So the other part of that, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that segues into another piece. But this is something that we saw in Richland, which kind of shows you what the courts would look like and kind of the outdoor presentation of it, just to get a kind of a rough idea. So it's a really nice kind of piece that we're looking to do. Now the other part is the Travis Outlaw Center has a racquetball court that's right here, and we have an open grass area right here. And so what we're proposing is we would redo the racquetball court right here and build this as into a white room so that we could do some fitness stuff. We'd like to put a door on it, we'd like to fob it, and then we'd like to give 24-hour access to the walking track, this little fitness area. And so people who do want to walk at 5 in the morning, they could fob through that area because we've secured the entire building at that point and give them only the access to the bathroom or the track, and they would have to be a member and sign this stuff like they normally do, but we also can control that.
And the fob would let you know who's come and gone.
Absolutely. I talked to the fire and the police department. They would love that idea because currently they don't have a place to necessarily work out. And so giving them something nicer to work out for the community would bring the presence of police and fire to that location too, which would help keep it more secure. I think it's a great opportunity to meet those people that want to do stuff at 9 o'clock at night and walk late at night or really early in the morning. And that we can offset the cost because we're not going to necessarily have to man it. So we have taken all that into consideration. So if we can make this work somehow, that's kind of our end goal, is to be able to apply this to more people so they can use our facility.
Anyone else? All right, if not, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
May I have your last 10 minutes? Just segue from recycle thing.
Well, you're on the agenda, so let us get through we'll go through the agenda. We'll get
Go
through
ahead.
the, yeah, sure,
Mayor,
absolutely.
I do have a question. I apologize.
Yes, sir.
Quiz. I was absent at last meeting we had, the center tank, and I'm just looking at your $1.9 million, and I don't see how that's kind of broken down. Do you have?
You talking about the need more itself, or?
You got $1.9 million.
Right. So, I've got a detailed, right, so it's 3,000 square foot range. Right now, we're budgeting $300 a square foot. From what contractors and architects are telling us, is you're probably about $275 to $300 a square foot. From everything that we can see. So the rest of your money is all your parking on everything else. So that's doing all your new parking spots. And it's also trying to keep some parking out in the front. So pretty much site work, so your building's probably about $1 million, and then site work's about $900,000 with all your dirt work. One thing we ran into with geotech is the soils are kind of rough there. We're going to have to dig and replace, and so that's going to run it up a little bit. on that side of it. Luckily, it's not too big of a building, so you're not talking about that much.
Story of Starkville's life is bad so far.
And, it's in a bad spot. So, but we have a detailed estimate. If you'd like to sit down and look at it and kind of drill in, we can sit down and see on that one and get you, we can drill down as much as y'all want to and see what it looks like.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, we can start going through the agenda. Okay. We've got 7 minutes. Bart, have you had a chance to look at those yet? Are we good for those? Can we do those on consent? Yes. Okay. I think there were some introductions, so I'll put those in the mayor's comments. If anybody has anything they want to have listed on here, now would be the time to say so. Introduce Bart? We can do that. We can introduce Bart. Okay. Bart, give me your bio, would you please?
Oh, I'll just.
No. Bart, give me your bio.
I won't have to dig around for that, but I will.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, and I will do that. We've got public appearance. This is going to be Jeremiah coming for his annual program that's required for his grant. So he's going to make the presentation. He'll also be holding his public hearing at this time. And then we've got the first public hearing for amending the code. Edward, where are you?
Right here.
Okay. You want to highlight or touch base with the board on what's part of that,
Yeah.
that public hearing?
These are what I consider just 2 quick changes to the code, just for immediacy, with a more comprehensive code update happening hopefully later on this year. The first is some additional enforcement on fire hydrant tampering. This goes right back to our efforts to try to reduce our brown water. We feel like that's a potential source of that from private contractors, so trying to just reinforce that. And then the other quick change is the sewer collection for our sewer-only customers. The code provision that allows us to install a secondary cutoff meter behind the water meter for water service if the sewer-only customer fails to pay their sewer bill.
Okay, so those are the high points?
Those are the high points, the two primary changes. Happy to answer any questions about those.
Questions? Obviously nothing for consent, but that'll be our first public hearing on that. So, mayor has no business, and then the board. Now, Alderman Beatty, you're up.
Because we talked about, or I mentioned that I was going to bring to you in first of this year some information about curbside recycling. And we talked back and forth, and I know y'all expected me to come back and with some information. This morning, what I want to do is talk about, because we do compare ourselves to our other college towns in the Southeastern Conference, and I looked in detail at. I targeted the college SEC towns that are college towns, not the places like Knoxville, Tennessee, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and Nashville, and places like that. The SEC school is just one piece of a great big city. All of these places, the 7 I've got listed up here that I'm going to show you information on, are college towns. In other words, the driver of the economy in those cities, and all of them are bigger than Starkville, significantly bigger than Starkville. They're still college towns. But what we're going to talk about this morning is recycling information in comparison to these other 7 SEC college towns. And what I'm going to do is talk about, or show you what they do on their curbside garbage, recycling, how they do it, just to kind of hit the high spots, and then we'll talk about it next Tuesday. And hopefully by then we'll have a proposal to bring to you about how we might reintroduce curbside recycling to the city of Starkville. First of all, here are your 7 communities that we're going to look at quickly, briefly. Oxford, Fayetteville, Arkansas, Auburn, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Athens, Georgia, Gainesville, Florida, Columbia, Missouri. Let's look at Oxford. I talked to the director of the sanitation or environmental services last week in Oxford, and I called and talked on the phone. But here are the highlights of their program that I've ascertained and have down for you. They have, like us, municipal pickup. They don't contract outside. They have their own trucks and things. Municipal garbage pickup, 2 days per week. They have 1 day per week curbside recycling. Which includes 1 and 2 plastics, which we don't do plastics right now. They have a sorting facility in Lafayette County that the county and city use up there, which allows them to be able to do the plastics that we can't do right now until we come up with some other type of system. Plastics, when people put them out curbside in Oxford, the plastics are dual streamed with aluminum and steel cans. You have 2 buckets, and those items go in one. Paper goes in another, and they make people break cardboard down and flatten it out, and they put 2 buckets on top of it, and they pick it up once a week, and that's how they do the recycling up there. It's $22 per month, which includes recycling. So for your $22 sanitation bill, you get the curbside recycling. You don't have to opt in. You just get that's part of it. The lady told me that they have ordered and will start using 96-gallon tipper bins. That's these bins that the truck pulls up and dumps it, tipper bins for garbage pickup, which will be owned by the city. People won't have to buy these things. They'll issue them to people. Be owned by the city and issued to residential customers at no cost. Oxford currently has 3 drop-off sites in the city, so if you miss recycling and you just want a Saturday morning, won't carry it to a place, they've got 3 places up there where you can carry it, like we do. We have the one in our sanitation department. They told me that 40% of Oxford's 14,000 residences utilize curbside recycling. That's pretty strong. And that's after they discontinued it during the pandemic and started back, I guess, sometime first to mid 22. Let's look at the next city. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Like the city of Starkville, they have municipal, they have their own garbage trucks. They have 1 day per week, and you're going to see some recurring themes in this thing. But they have 1 day per week garbage pickup. The city issues the tipper bins to the customer, to the residential households for garbage and recycling containers to residential customers. So the city owns the property. You call them and tell them. They have 3 different sizes in Fayetteville of the garbage tippers, and they charge a different monthly price based on size of the bin that you decide that you want. In Fayetteville, the smaller size, the less they charge you. And they're still tipping that thing, but they charge you less money for the small. And that's an inducement. That's an incentive for people to recycle. Less going in the garbage stream and more going in the recycle stream. So you get to pick, and they charge you a monthly fee what those curbside recycling, what those tipper bins, what you're going to pay for those. Curbside recycling is on the same day as garbage pickup. It includes plastics and glass, and single stream. And Fayetteville has 2 recycling drop-off sites.
Alderman Beatty, Fayetteville, do you know what the range is from low to high on their
the small bin, the little one is 32 gallon, is $11.50 all the way up to about $25 and about $30 on their 96, the big bin, the big container. So the incentive is,
32 gallons is a little bigger than my kitchen garbage.
It's small, but it's still got the wheels and it's got the tipper. The 64 is probably where most people in Fayetteville, they have. Some people that, really go through the garbage have the big ones, I'll show you in a minute. Most cities use those bigger size. They have 2 drop-off sites if you decide on a week, on Saturday morning, something you want to take your stuff to a drop-off site. Let's look at the next city, Auburn. Auburn has, like us, they own their trucks. They have municipal 1 day per week garbage pickup. They have 1 day per week curbside recycling, same day as garbage. You'll notice this is a new kind of truck Chris knows about. Mr. Smiley knows about it. These are dual compartment trucks. Half of this thing is garbage, half of it's recycling. There's one driver, he drives up, and they instruct people how to put these things out. You put them out, both of them by the street, about 3 feet apart, and when you see the distance back, this man drives up so far, tips the recycling, pulls up a little further, that armor comes out and picks up and dumps the garbage. So he's getting both of them at the same time, and they're doing their garbage and recycling on the same day. They have a recycling drop-off site at their sanitation office, like we do. People on the weekends, that kind of thing. Somebody didn't put the recycling out. They're single stream. In that blue recycling thing is every type of recycling stuff they do, which is everything we do plus plastics and plus glass. I I'm gonna correct myself. They accept glass bottles and jars, but you have to carry those to the drop-off site. The plastics you can mix with the paper and with cardboard boxes, but it's all got to be in that recycling bin with the lid closed. Next slide. Thank you. Tuscaloosa, like City Starkville, they have municipal. They own their own equipment. It's their residential is 1 day per week garbage with curbside recycling on that same day. So you're going to have, just like Albany, you're going to have a bin for your garbage and one at the curb and one for your recycling. Their recycling includes plastics and glass. And they have 15 recycling drop-off sites in the city, one near you. So if they've got that many, there's one not too far from where pretty much everybody lives. But that's what Tuscaloosa does. Athens, Georgia. Athens, Clark County, Georgia. Athens and Clark County, Georgia are one government. It's one of the, there are not many places in the South. Nashville and Davidson County, and I think we're Macon, Georgia, whatever. But there are half a dozen of these county city governments. They're one of them. That shows you the fleet of their tipper trucks. These things have the dual. Mr. Smiley, correct me. Dual compartment for 2 compartments, right?
That's correct.
And has the arm that comes out and dumps, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the fleet of Athens. This is the Athens, Georgia fleet right here. Municipal, they own their own trucks. There they are. 1 day per week garbage pick, 1 day per week garbage pickup, and single stream curbside recycling on the same day. You put your garbage out, put your recycling out. You put all your recycling in one thing. Now you got to have a company or a place that'll take it when you do that kind of stuff. But apparently their residential customers can put everything in the recycle bin and put the garbage and tip it on tomorrow, pick it up on the same day. They have the different size tipper bins that you can pick which size and what you want to pay, and that there again, that's an encouragement for people to recycle. They issue these bins to these residential customers at no charge. It's city-owned property, but they issue to no charge. Probably have some type of barcode or something on it. Recycles most plastics and glass bottles and jars. I'm pretty sure Athens is doing number 1 through 7 plastics and then glass bottles and jars. They have 9 recycling drop-off sites in the city, county, and I've got prints up there because it's a combined city-county government. Gainesville, Florida. Municipal, own their vehicles. 1 day per week garbage and recycling pickup on the same day. Has 3 sizes there again of garbage tipper bins with different prices for each. Recycling containers issued to residential customers at no cost. The city of Gainesville recycles most plastics and glass bottles and jars. They don't have any drop-off sites. You've got to do it curbside. All right? Next one. Thank you. Last city is Columbia, Missouri. This city is probably most like us. They have a commercial contract hauler that picks up their garbage. But they have 1 day per week residential garbage pickup by private contractor. They do curbside recycling, residential recycling collected twice a month. They like maybe what we might propose to do every other week, not every week. And they do it on the same day as the garbage. So they pick up your garbage and recycle on those days at the same time. City, they have bags. They're the ones they issue the bags. City furnishes the bags for both garbage and recycling similar to Starkville's previous garbage recycling program. They have one color for their garbage and one color for the recycling, and they issue vouchers to you, or to the private company, the private hauler contractor issues those vouchers to you, and you redeem them and get your bags, and kind of like we do, that kind of thing. They have 9 drop-off sites. Their recycling includes number 1 through number 7 plastics and glass bottles and jars. So, but those are 7 of our contemporaries, 7 institutions in the SEC that host college towns that have recycling programs, robust recycling programs. one recurring theme in this thing you've noticed is that most all of them do 1 day per week garbage pickup, which probably allows them to do the type of recycling that they do that's more comprehensive than what we're doing, because it's just, they're putting more of their sanitation dollars into that, into recycling. Any questions?
Everybody, if I'm remembering, only one city used bags, that was Columbia. Everybody else was either going to tippers like Oxford or had tippers.
That's correct, Mayor.
I know we're doing a community survey. Are we asking in that survey if they're willing to give up twice a week?
I don't know, but we need to.
Because that's going to be, I think that's what
We need to do that. I mean, my children, my daughter and son-in-law give a 2 day just like that to be able to have a recycling curbside program and have. I mean, I don't know, but and Mr. Smiley, you can discuss this because he knows how much labor costs, things like that are. But then you see that picture in Auburn where one truck or one driver pulls up, dumps both of them.
How much is the truck?
Oh, I bet they don't give them away. And you'd have to, because it's going to be slower. Mr. Chris, that process is slower than if you have guys behind the truck that run and putting it in the truck, right?
Yes, sir, it's a lot slower.
It's a lot slower. So you'd have to have, I won't say a fleet, but you'd have to have several of those things work in the city, to do it. But it, apparently, that's what Oxford's about to do.
You have to train your residents to get their garbage cans.
Get to it, and and it's got to be so many feet apart, and got to be so close to the curb that the arm can reach it. But anyway, food for thought. We'll come back Tuesday with a proposal for something that will be a bare bones, possible curbside program for City of Starkville, something that we can hopefully, get up and running, and then we'll take it from there. And I, Mayor, appreciate the time.
Okay.
Thanks for the work, man.
Yep. All righty, now we can go through the rest of the agenda. We've got reappointing, and these folks, there are 4 positions, and these gentlemen want to get reappointed, so with no additional folks. We're hunting down another 2. Then maybe we'll get lucky here and find some folks who want to do that. Yes, at this point, yes. Under engineering and streets, we've got a couple of bid and a low quote. Anything about this Cody that you want to do? You are right there.
Not
anything
necessarily.
You want to share?
Mr. Smalley's had good luck with these folks, and this is uniforms, correct?
From the uniform?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we think it offers a replacement, kind of pre-replacement thing, so I think it's a good call for the street department.
Okay, consider on that one, all right. The next one, we've got the low bid, and we were pleased that it is a low bid, because somebody had projected it would be in the 100,000, so it's nice to have a low bid from local folks. This is SGK, so consent for that one? All right. Claims docket, we'll pass over. Acceptance of the financials. Anything, Lisa, about the financials?
And they
Consent for
also include parks this time also.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
And the fire department. Chief, anything you want to talk about? No, I'm sorry, Chief's not here. Mark, anything you want to talk about regarding the grant? Okay. And this is going to be paid out of the grant proceeds. So consent for that one? Okay. HR, Mr. There you are, back there. Anything you want to share about any of these appointments?
No, ma'am, they're all replacements.
They're all replacements, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Consent. All right. So we'll be the municipal court, the police department, HR for payroll. We've got an intern for Starkville Utilities, Starkville Airport, and grounds maintenance for airport, and then recommendation by the director of sanitation for disciplinary matters. So, and there's, that's how we've been treating the ones lately. So, consent for that? Okay. IT, we're going to get our generators. Yes. Only it's like a 9-month lead time. So, yes, but. So we'll just consent for that to purchase that backup generator. Thank you. And in parks, we've got a change order for broken pipes and wire at Cornerstone. Consent for that. We've got 3 security cameras for Cornerstone. And then various Cornerstone supplies. Anything about that, Mr. Doherty, that you want to share with us before we pass by it?
They're just FF&E items that are needed for basic operations.
Okay, all right, thank you. Consent for those. And then moving to utilities, we've got, I think we've got a little issue on the elevator. So Mr. Kemp, would you like to share that with us?
Still.
And Bert,
Yeah, I think we're still negotiating back and forth between our legal and their legal. They've been real receptive to the request you made on removal of some things, but they have to run it through their legal team. So they hope to have us an answer back on Tuesday.
Okay, so why don't we just leave it on the agenda, not do consent, and we'll see what comes back out
Okay.
of that?
And if
Okay, so
not,
y'all
we
will
can
still
pull
work
it.
your way through that?
Yeah.
Okay. Lowest quote for tree trimming in Edgewood, or I'm sorry, tree removal in Edgewood, consent for that. And then best quote for construction methods for emergency purchase of the pump. Edward, share with us that.
Sure. We had a failure of a pump of our flush truck. It's our only truck that can do that work over the extreme winter holiday time. And so we called around a couple of different vendors. We identified a pump that was immediately available. We found another one for a second quote that they thought they could get it to us sometime this spring, but there was no guarantee. The one that had it on site would not hold it for us, because I was hoping to get to this meeting and get approval and then do it that way. They said they would not hold it, and so I asked the mayor if she was okay to do an emergency authorization. We did that. We went ahead and ordered it, but coming back to the board for after the fact, a blessing of that purchase.
We just need to pay for all that, so, all right, consent for that? All right, guys, that takes us to the end of the agenda, and lots of good information. Thank you very much for all. Yes, ma'am.
On the public appearance by the Smart Bus, I'm sorry, I failed to bring these up earlier, but these are some letters of support that Jeremiah Dumas has asked that each of the elected officials take with them and bring back Tuesday to him.
Okay.
Or you can do it now and give it back to me, but it's just letters of support.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you. That's one of the benefits of our community. You can clear it up if you don't like the presentation. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.